I just woke up. That wasn't something I knew to be possible. I never actually knew anything at all until this moment. I feel weightless, almost like I'm floating. As my eyes adjust, I'm more aware of my surroundings and colors. Wow, the colors! What color am I? I looked down and I saw some kind of captivity device that seems to have me tied to this railing. It's yellow, yeah, cool. But now I'm kind of freaking out. How did I get here? Who am I? What am I? Is there any escape? How does this end? Someone help me! Ah! Hi. Is this just the thing we're gonna be doing on this channel from now on? Yes, for the foreseeable future, yes. Oh my god, Savannah, helium is a finite resource, and you're just using it as a joke? Well, yeah, you see, Starbond didn't last very long, but I think that's because I got Starbond from the Dollar Tree. Brenda here, she cost 10 times as much, so she better last 10 times as long. But the last time I had you guys vote on anything about a balloon, it was a 49-51 split between Starbond and Brenda, so it was just an easy choice to get a shark balloon and name it Brenda. Anyway, hope you like her. Anywho, I was actually gonna take this Thursday off because I am doing another deep dive and the research is, as always, stifling. But you know, as I was watching through some of the videos of this company that I'm deep diving, and I guess you know what, you'll find out anyway. Next deep dive is gonna be on Ruby Ribbon. It was one that I haven't heard much about. It's essentially a bra MLM, like shapewear, bras, undies for ladies. And so I just was like watching through videos of consultants, seeing the stuff that they were saying, kind of just trying to piece together a game plan as far as how I want to tackle the video. And I came across this video that we are going to watch together today. You guys, I was literally sitting upstairs with my husband. He was like playing whatever video game he's playing, and I'm just like watching all these Huns just meow, 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 meow. Bras are only good if you get them from Ruby Ribbon. As I'm watching this video, my husband and I just kind of looked at each other like, oh my god, what is happening? So at that moment, I knew I had to share it with you guys too. I think mostly because I just want to know what you guys think. I'm gonna pose this question now here in the beginning so that you may be able to think about it as you're watching. Is she doing and saying the things and reacting the way she is she doing these things because she's trying to be manipulative? Or do you really think that these are genuine feelings, genuine reactions to speaking about what we're gonna hear her speak about? Let me know, because I'm really not sure. I'll save my opinion for the end here, just so it doesn't sway you guys. So with that in the back of your mind, let's just press play here and we can have a discussion.
Good morning, beautiful ladies. I hope you're having a good day. I just thought I would hop on today with a little conversation starter and you know, see if I could get some interaction from everybody. So I am, if you don't know me, I am a stylist with Ruby Ribbon. I have been selling Ruby Ribbon for just over 1 year, and I absolutely love this business. I love helping people feel comfortable and confident in their clothes. I love getting to know new people. I love building relationships with people. I love the products. I love the company. I love all the things, and that's why I sell for Ruby Ribbon, because I fell in love. It wasn't love at first sight. The first item I tried, I wasn't necessarily like in love with. But once I got more and I kept trying and it got better and I got used to it, and it was like, I always like to say, it was a light bulb moment.
Okay, I just want to stop here because how often do we hear people in MLMs being like, oh yeah, it's different, you just gotta get used to it, but then you'll love it. And it's always like the most simple stuff, like with Monet, it's like shampoo. Oh yeah, you just gotta get past that 3-month mark, and then after that, you'll start to really see results, and then you'll really love it. I swear, hun. This chick is like, I didn't love it at first, but I just bought more things and tried more things, and eventually I was just used to it. If the world ended today and I no longer had access to fresh produce, I mean, let's be honest, I live in Arizona, I live in Phoenix, nothing fucking grows here, so what would I be getting myself used to eating? Canned beans, if I could get my hands on any? Not that there's anything wrong with canned beans, I keep those in my house because they're good with a bunch of other stuff, but just okay, this is a long-winded explanation, but okay, yeah, hypothetically, if I did not
not have access to fresh fruit and vegetables, all those things that make food good, I would then have to find a way to sustain myself otherwise, and then probably just end up eating just shitty canned food for the rest of as long as I could because the world was ending. I would say that like my taste buds, my, I guess, good happy feelings I get from eating food, good food, I suppose, would have to adapt to my new diet of canned beans. Does that mean it's a good thing? No. I had to get used to something that necessarily isn't as good as the stuff I was doing before. I hope this analogy makes sense. It's just, to me, I'm like, if I'm happy with what I'm doing now, then why, pray tell, would I change whatever it is I'm doing and then be like, I don't like this, but I'm gonna stick with it, instead of just going back to what you were doing? I mean, I guess some situations it's like, I've never exercised a day in my life, I gotta get used to exercising, like stuff like that. Like, that's different. We're not talking about that. We're talking about going from wearing one kind of undergarment to another. Does this make sense? I hope so.
And I knew that I needed these items, and they just made me feel good and confident. And I actually was just talking to one of my best friends the other day, and she said the same. She had one cami for a long time, and she didn't necessarily love it. And she went back and forth between bras and camis, but guess what? Now she's decided cami life is the best life.
Could that be because she's making money off of them? From what I'm gathering, I haven't done like a huge deep dive into the products yet. I'm working on that. But it seems like instead of, I mean, they have bras, but their big seller is like this cami that you don't have to wear a bra with, and it still gives you support. Again, it's like she was like trying to like the products and like working her way into a point where she's like, okay, I'm used to this weird shit now. So now I can finally start honestly selling to people and make money. If that was not there, if the opportunity to make some kind of income was not attached to these fucking camis, would this girl or whatever friend she's talking about, would they have continued on doing it? Probably not. So what does that say? Oh, money is the motivator. That's shocking. That's fucking surprising. It's almost like when people go into MLMs, they're like, oh my god, this product is the best thing in the world, it changed my life, blah, blah, blah. And then take Advocare, for example. What do you think happened when Advocare had to close its doors from being an MLM and totally change its business structure to just like a normal business? Because listen, yeah, you can't become an Advocare distributor now, but if you already were one, you were essentially grandfathered in, and you could only make money by selling the products. There was no recruitment involved. It was almost like an affiliate program at that point. They weren't taking on new ones, but people who were already there could still continue to sell the products and make a commission. What do you think happened? You know, all those people for years and years and years who sat there on social media and in their church groups and their scrapbooking classes and whatever the fuck they do with their lives, they're going, oh my god, I would never even conceive of a world where I was consuming any other product, you know, talking it up like it's the best thing in the world. Guess what those people did? They jumped ship. A lot of them went to like Isogenics, just any other kind of health MLM. Arbonne, I think, took a lot of Advocare's old people, Beachbody with Shakeology and stuff. So, it's almost like you were saying all those things when you were with Advocare because you had an opportunity to make a decent income after you were recruiting all these people. But once the big money is taken out of it, suddenly, I guess they're not so great anymore. Suddenly, I found something better than Advocare, actually. Have you heard of Isogenics? Funny how that happens.
And what makes us different than other companies? So Ruby Ribbon is designed and patented so that you're going to get the best quality garment and you're going to be comfortable. A lot of shapewear, I own them, I've tried them, I own Spanx leggings, I own other things. They don't have the same features that Ruby Ribbon has. Ruby Ribbon has patented technology, the gripper, the dots, silicone, latex and allergen free.
First of all, obviously, if you've ever worn any kind of shapewear at all, I bought some off of Amazon that were kind of cheap that didn't have the silicone things that like keep it from sliding down. When I tried Shapermint, they don't slide down because they've got the same thing. They've got like the little silicone things, they stick onto your body so you're not rolling down, falling down. And I love my Shapermint, and surprise, surprise, it's like 30% of the price of fucking Ruby Ribbon. Ruby Ribbon, they sell their camis for like $90 each. It's insane. Something like that. When I have the Ruby Ribbon deep dive, we can know for sure. I'm just like speaking off of what I feel like I remember seeing, but also I have a 20% off code with Shapermint if you want it. It's down below. No pressure though, sis. I guess my point is, she's like, oh, what makes us different? We have these silicone things. It's like, okay, yeah, so do other respectable shapewear brands. Like, okay, what else you got, chick?
They're good for, they're not going to cause you any kind of damage or harm or anything like that. And I have had a couple people, when they first tried it, get some irritation to the silicone, but it goes away. It's just because they might have sensitive skin or whatever.
So this is almost like the Monet Huns who are just like, oh yeah, your hair looks like shit right now, but give it 3 months, it'll go away and then it'll be better. If you have a negative effect to a product that you've never had before, and like suddenly you're using a new product and now you're having these issues, hey, maybe stop using that product. Don't just sit there and try to wait for it to go away. It's funny because Illuminati just released a deep dive video today as I'm filming this on Senogens, which are the people who do lip scents. And she was talking about a time where I guess someone started using lip scents and started getting like weird breakouts and acne around their mouth. And then their doctor was like, oh, are you using any new products? And she was like, I'm using this lipstick stuff. And they're like, stop using those products. And she stopped and it went away. It was just like a huge struggle to get her money back from Senogens, which I don't think she ever did actually. I don't know, you should watch Illuminati's video. It's really interesting. But even this person's doctor was like, hey, it's causing you actual harm. Can you stop using those things? Same goes for everything, dude. Doesn't matter. It's not worth harming your body over. So this is the same thing. She's like, oh, I had some people get irritated. I thought silicone was like hypoallergenic. Latex isn't. I guess it doesn't really matter, but at least she's honest. We aren't even to the part where it starts getting manipulative.
But it is latex and allergen free. The material is patented 360-degree stretch, so you can sit on the floor with your kids, you can paint a wall, you can clean, you can vacuum, you can run a mile, whatever, and still feel amazing.
I'm still caught up on the paint a wall thing, like as if that's something that people are doing like on a daily basis. You can sit on the floor with your kid, you can vacuum, you can cook dinner, you can paint a wall. Okay, good to know. If I ever need to paint a wall, maybe I'll hit you up for Ruby Ribbon then, okay? What a weird fucking thing to say.
The material is moisture wicking, so what does that mean? It means antimicrobial moisture wicking. It means it's not gonna get stinky and disgusting with like a normal clothes would with your sweat, and it's going to draw that sweat away from your skin, so it's actually gonna cool you down.
Do you think that these people, and obviously I don't know enough yet, but do you think these people are just like, oh no, it doesn't get stinky so you don't have to wash it as much? Do you think? Maybe. I wouldn't put it past them.
Which is amazing. And that's why I love Ruby Ribbon so much. So why should you try it? Well, let me tell you who I used to be. I used to be a girl, well, number one, I grew up in a rough, abusive home. And I had no confidence whatsoever already. I was told I'll never be anybody, I'll be like other people in my life that I grew up around, and I won't amount to anything. And I had a lot of hurt in my life, and even as a teenager, same. I was made fun of and picked on and beat on, and it was a very, very rough, hard thing. And if you've been there, you know it's really difficult to come out of, even as an adult, because when you look at yourself in the mirror, you see that little girl, that neglected little girl that had head lice all the time, and that was dirty, and that no one cared about and no one loved.
Do you feel that? That's a tug on your heartstring. Did you feel that? Oh, there it is again. Oh. Now, I don't want to sit here and diminish her feelings and try to say like, oh, wasn't that bad? Just the idea of any kid, child, young child, teenager, whatever, being neglected, that's a pretty big claim to say that you were neglected. But she also tied that in with, I had head lice all the time. It's like, okay, yeah, that sounds like neglect. And obviously I don't know her background. I don't know her parents. Now, listen, I had a very stable family household growing up, and I still heard things like, you're never gonna make it in what you're trying to do. You're never gonna blah, blah, blah. Not from my mom. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't from my mom. There was doubt instilled in me as a young adult, teenager, that my issues were my fault, that I wasn't good at what I was doing. I was never going to make it in music. I was never going to make it on YouTube. You know, all this shit. And COVID kind of threw a little bit of a wrench in the music thing, but I am 30 now, so I've kind of moved on. Maybe someday. My point is that like, yeah, I heard all that shit and I ended up pulling out of it, so I understand how hard it it is to be in that position to just feel fucking worthless, like you're never gonna do anything right, you're never gonna amount to anything, and hearing that from people who you love. That's hard. And I know not everyone has been through that, but like she said, if you have, you know. Maybe this is why I'm like asking you guys, do you think that she's being manipulative or is she being legit? Because even me, being 30 years old now, it still tugs at me to hear another person say, when I was younger and I was trying to find out who I was and learn and grow and do all these things, that people were dragging me down. Now, I wouldn't say I was neglected by any means. Maybe emotionally neglected in some ways. Not to point any fingers or anything like that. I'm fine now. I'll probably always have a grudge, but that just means I'll never do that to my children. That aside, that makes me think like, okay, she's actually feeling these things and she actually believes the words that she's saying. However, there's a logical part in my brain that's like, Savannah, she knows what she's doing to have a sob story to make you feel bad for her so that you'll buy Ruby Ribbon from her and join her team. And I guess I just can't differentiate in this particular situation between what is real and what is manipulation because I have like an emotional tie to the things she's saying. Sorry if that was like a long-winded explanation. I know I've said that twice already. Oh my god, I'm just like blah blah blah. I had coffee, okay? I mean, I'm gonna press play and it only gets worse. But I had to stop because just the idea of saying I was neglected as a child and I had head lice and nobody loved me makes me sad, and it should make anyone else sad too. But I just wonder if it's just coming from my place of experience and not an actual like logical spot. Like, should I be as empathetic as I am feeling right now, or is that manipulation? Okay, let's continue.
All that's what you see, right? And when people don't understand that, I don't think, when you've never been there. And that's exactly what when I looked at the mirror, that's exactly what I would see. I see that little kid that nobody cared about and it took me a long time before I could look at the mirror and say, you're beautiful. You're amazing. Look what you've done, because God has blessed your life and your family. And I just want you to know that it took shapewear to get me to where I am today, and I'm okay with that. It wasn't just shapewear. It was a lot of help and a lot of health issues and a lot of mental struggles and whatever. But I want you to know that shapewear was the start of it.
Okay, now I'm thinking, I'm like, no, it's definitely manipulation, right? I know you can't see because I have her face blurred, but she's tearing up. Like, she has tears in her freaking eyes. So I think a lot of times when you see MLM distributors kind of using a sob story to essentially sell their business, they're not usually this like emotionally invested. So then I'm like going back and forth. Then at that point, now I'm like, oh no, she is emotional about it. I don't know. Is it possible that she's doing both? I don't know. Just know that, yeah, like you can straight up see the tears welling up in her eyes. Like, and I'm sure you could hear it in her voice.
And now when I put on clothes, I don't cry anymore. I don't look in the mirror and say, I hate myself. I hate my rolls. I hate my fat. And occasionally, yes, I'm like, oh, I'm so fat and bloated, blah, blah, blah. But it's not like every single day beating yourself down. Oh, I hate myself. Look at how bad I look. Look at these clothes. I have nothing to wear because I look fat. And you just start to believe it. When you start telling yourself that on a daily basis, on a regular basis, guess what? You start believing it. You start believing you're not beautiful and you're fat and you're ugly and you're gross and you're whatever. And you know what? We need to tell ourselves that we love ourselves, because when we love ourselves and we start saying that, like, you're a good person. And it won't start as saying, oh my word, you're gorgeous to yourself, right? But it will start as saying, I have a good heart. I'm a good mother. I'm not a great mother. I make mistakes. I make my son mad on the daily basis, but I am trying.
Why would you admit that? I make my son mad every single day. Self-report. Is this a matter of oversharing? I think it might be. So, like, what are you trying to achieve here? Sales, right? Like, team recruitment and stuff. I mean, her whole YouTube channel is all about all these kind of videos about Ruby Ribbon. And I get being vulnerable, and I get being honest. I'm pretty open and vulnerable with you guys, like, every fucking video I ever make. So, like, I get that. It's one thing to, like, tell your story about yourself, but when you bring other people into it, especially literally your own children. I'm like, why did you bring that up? Like, she's insecure about being a good mother or whatever. And you think that's gonna get fixed with shapewear? It just seemed like a really odd thing to say. And like a lot of times when you say things out loud like that, it comes from a place of guilt. It's so just odd.
I really put an effort into being a friend to people. And just little things like that, just saying, and then it will be able to develop into something bigger. Like, now I can look at myself and look like, I actually think I look really pretty. I would have never thought to say that to myself before. And in the realm I used to be in, people would say, if you say you're beautiful or pretty, then you're vain, or you're looking for attention.
That's dumb.
Or why do you want to look good? Just to attract other people, blah, blah, blah. You wear too much makeup. It's excessive. It's caked on. These are all things I've heard before. You're too trendy. You're worldly. You're whatever. And now I look at myself and I'm like, I'm an amazing person.
I mean, I think that's good. That's definitely a good mindset to live by. People who make comments about people's outward appearance just for the sake of being a dick, like, you're sad, dude. Do you have anything else to contribute to this world? No, you're just gonna sit there and talk shit all the time? You're a sad fucking person. And I think it's a good lesson that, maybe we all could be more kind to ourselves. Easier said than done. Listen, I get it. I still look at myself in the mirror and hate what I see most days. But I'm not gonna try to fix that with Ruby Ribbon or an MLM.
God has really blessed me and given me an amazing life. And I have a fear every day that it's too good to be true and it's gonna go away. But I want to enjoy it anyway, because I want to be happy, and these are things that make me happy. Ruby Ribbon, yes, it makes me happy because it makes me feel skinny, but it's inside.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does skinny equal happy now? Come on. I guess she's trying to be like positive or whatever, but what she just said is like literally triggering to people. I like looking skinny because it makes me happy. I mean, I guess that's fine. Like, do whatever makes you happy, but like, let's not equate the two, You don't have to be skinny to be happy. Just like you don't have to be skinny to be healthy either. Maybe I'm looking too far into that particular statement that she made, but it just really rubbed me the wrong way.
It just sometimes is hidden under those scars, childhood scars, those adult scars, those things that people have said to you that have hurt you deeply, and that they can never be taken back. They're there forever. I remember things that people said to me over 30 years ago, and they still hurt me today. But I work through them, right? And we all have to work through them, and we have to let them go, and we have to realize, you know what? Just because people say things that are negative about you, it doesn't mean it's true. And people usually, this is one thing I learned, hurt people. People that are the most hurting or deeply hurt or struggling the hardest, they hurt other people. So do not be that person. Be a light, be an encouragement, love people. Tell them you love them. Point out things that you like about people. Yesterday I was walking through Walmart. There's this girl. She had this beautiful... I stopped her and I said, "Ma'am, I love your hair. It looks beautiful." And you could literally see it made her day. And she was like, "Thank you."
You're such a good person for complimenting another person. Great job. Like, it's that hard. It's kind of like that whole thing where Karen will go on Facebook after paying it forward. I was in the Starbucks drive-thru and I decided to pay for the guy behind me too. Because, it just feels right to pay it forward. It's like, okay, I mean, you could have done that and not said anything. If you were doing it just for the sake of making yourself feel good and also that other person feel good, fine. But like, once it goes beyond that into like the territory of, hey guys, look at how good of a person I am, then it's like, okay, shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Like, we don't care. Good for her for complimenting somebody at Walmart just because she wanted to. I think that's a nice thing to do. And I think a lot of people would probably benefit from doing that in their daily lives as well. That being said, the way she said it and presented it here is like, Ruby Ribbon has made me so confident and happy with myself that I can compliment people now. Oh, wow.
I like your hair too. And I was like, well, thank you. I don't know her and she doesn't know me. But if you can encourage somebody, do it, because we're all struggling inside and we all look at it. Like I said, you look at yourself and you see that dirty little neglected kid, but someone else is seeing some amazing person on the outside because of the inside, right? You could be the most beautiful person on the outside and you could be a crummy person on the inside, or vice versa, right? But anyway, I hope that makes sense. The difference is you. The difference is you.
By the way, when she says that, the name of this video is What Makes Ruby Ribbon Different? And she says, the difference is you. Oh, Lord, help me. I can answer that question for you. There really is no difference. She thinks this sob story is like reaching through to someone. I mean, we have to be honest with ourselves. MLMs encourage a atmosphere of toxic positivity. And I honestly, truly do feel like that's what this is. This isn't just like some MLM distributor being like, look at how great my life is. This is an MLM distributor that's like, my life used to suck, and then I found this company, and now my life is great, and I compliment people now, and you know, sometimes I make my son mad every day, but I still want to be a good mom. I used to be a dirty, neglected child, and now look at me. With this person in particular, it goes from like one very low extreme to the other very high extreme. Because yeah, I think at that point it's just like, it's toxic. She's obviously being honest about, you know, where she comes from, her background, The real reason she's making this video is to promote Ruby Ribbon. And to me, that's not really genuine. Hi, Pop-Tart. So many of you guys asked for Pop-Tart merch. I don't know how to go about making Pop-Tart merch, but maybe I could. With how often she shows up here now, she might as well be our mascot. Anyway, I'll press play here, but I hope you guys know what I'm trying to say.
It's not the garments, though they make you feel amazing. It's you. It's the person in the garments that matters. It's the person in the garments that sometimes needs that little extra confidence to come out. And if it takes undergarments to make you feel better, so be it. If it takes makeup and lashes and hair and all the things, go for it, because you know what? It doesn't change who you are on the inside. It just makes you feel more confident and beautiful.
I absolutely agree with all of this. Remember at the back of our minds here that she is talking about an MLM. If you want to wear shapewear and makeup and do your hair all pretty or whatever to make yourself feel more confident, there is not a fucking problem with that. But when you take all that and then you throw it into an MLM and make that your confidence, then I'm like, that's dangerous. That's dangerous territory, and you're not gonna come out of this with your head above water, dude.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, that was really like a rabbit trail, and hopefully you understood and you know my heart and you know how much I love you. And
you don't know me.
I just want you to know that yes, Ruby Ribbon's amazing. I told you all the things about that, but really ultimately it's for you. It's whatever you need that makes you feel amazing and good. Do it. And you will love your life, and you will have the best life. So anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you later.
You know, it is so wild to me that like the things she's saying are good things, right? So why do I feel so negative after watching that? I think it comes down to the fact that that title was What Makes Ruby Ribbon Different. So she was saying all of that essentially as an MLM pitch. Talk about preying on people's emotions and insecurities and vulnerabilities, right? Have you ever felt low in your life? Have you ever felt like you just weren't enough? Well, you could join my team and you will have a good life. That's what she was saying at the end. Like, you will have a good life. It's like, you can't promise people that. You know, Ruby Ribbon is not an MLM that's like really on everybody's radar. So like, I haven't really heard a bunch of like horror stories from Ruby Ribbon, but I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure there's people who like were on toxic teams with toxic leaders. They were probably forced to do shit they didn't want to do. You know, I'm sure that was out there. But I'm kind of just sat here left confused. That was the second time that I had watched that through. And I have to say, honestly, the first time, and like coming into this video, I really thought that this girl was just brainwashed and she really believed all these things. Now, after watching it a second time through, I'm like, I think she knew what she was doing. I think she knew that manipulating the viewer in this way to tug on their heartstrings and then get a hook in there and just rip the heart out and then hold it hostage until they join Ruby Ribbon. I feel like that might have been where she was going with that. But then in that case, you would have to say that her tears were fake. And I don't think her tears were fake. Either that or she's just a really good actress. But, you know, like I said earlier, could it be both?
¿Por qué no las dos?
Could she definitely, actually, genuinely feel the things that she was feeling? Does she really attribute all of her life successes and all of her happiness right now in this moment to Ruby Ribbon? Because that's not good. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. because now I'm just confused. Maybe she's a victim of the whole like correlation equals causation kind of thing, where they think like maybe her life just happened to perk up as soon as she had a purpose with Ruby Ribbon. Like she was just kind of wandering aimlessly in life until she found Ruby Ribbon, and then she had something to kind of dedicate herself to. She had something to gain from being a better person, and that's why she decided to make all these changes in her life or whatever it is. The same can be said for like religious people. You see a lot of people who weren't raised in religious households, and then if they come around like, I found Jesus and now my life is wonderful. It's like, is it because of Jesus?
Spoiler alert, no.
More so, usually in that case, and I think this is the same case with MLMs, there is a kind of false sisterhood, false brotherhood. I don't want to say, it's a cult, because every time I say the word cult and religion in the same sentence, all the Christians show up and get all mad at me. But come on. Most church organizations, you know, really have a lot of culty aspects to them, and same thing with MLMs. So the same person who's sitting there like, I didn't know Jesus and then I found Jesus and now I feel better. It's like, well, you fell into this mindset that you had something to live for now. You understand the purpose of life. You know why you're on this planet now, and giving yourself a purpose, of course, it's gonna make you feel better. It's gonna make you feel like you're worth more, I guess, to the world if you finally find your purpose. That doesn't necessarily mean that, in this case, Ruby Ribbon is the reason for that. You could have joined any MLM and you would have felt that way. You could have found any new religion and felt that way. But as with most MLMs and even religions, brainwashing is involved. And so I'm like, okay, so this chick, I think she might have joined Ruby Ribbon and brainwashed herself into believing all this shit, into believing that Ruby Ribbon is the reason why she's happy now. And I don't know, I'm just kind of like thinking out loud, so sorry if this is all just a bunch of like word vomit, but you know what I mean. Anyway, leave me your thoughts and comments down below. I don't know if the Ruby Ribbon deep dive will be done by next week. Probably not, so I might skip next Thursday. I don't really know. Also, my daughter starts kindergarten this week. Ugh. So my life schedule is about to be changing around because I have to pick her up and drop her off and do all that 5 days a week now. So that just add that onto all the shit that I'm juggling all day, every day. There may be some schedule changes coming up, so I'm just warning you now. This is kind of a life change for all of us in this household, so I just have to find a way to work it in and keep doing what I'm doing. So bear with me for the next few weeks while I figure that shit out. Oh my god, I just like have this sitting here. One of you guys sent me this too. I forgot who it was who sent it, but my kids have already gotten it. Griffin has drooled all over it already, but this is Brenda, and that's Brenda. This is baby Brenda. You want to talk about a mascot? At this point, it's got to be like a shark, right? I don't know. Thank you, whoever sent me this. It showed up in my P.O. box, and I was like, this is a nice gift. It's just so like cute and thoughtful. Anyway, so now it's time to thank all my patrons and my members. The list of people I'm about to name, as well as the people who are about to scroll on this list before your eyes, are people who support me financially, and in return for being one of my members or my patrons, everyone gets access to our patron-only Discord server. Sometimes I give you guys early videos whenever I'm able to, merch discounts. We have a postcard club in which I'm sending everybody rocks this month that I painted myself. So it's a lot of fun. So if that sounds good to you, you can either go to patreon.com/SavannahMarie, or you can click the join button beneath this video. And now let's thank them! The biggest thank you in the whole wide world goes to Eve Blondo, Nitty Dragon, Leanne, Lydia Jane Creighton Byers, Meredith Nakata, Molly Wasilewski, Ryamu, Sander Mickelbust, Victoria Weiser, Alice W., April Lindblom, Boris Geller, Katrina Rosemarick, Daniel Urena, E. Higgins, Eric Lauder-Craddock, Jerry Duncan, Heidi Ha, Julia Wheeler, Kelly Creffield, Laura Lynn Martin, Maddie Darley, Rachel McHenry, Samantha Jackson, Tuesday the 13th, Lesbian Plantasy Liz, Tiffany Brust, J. Marie, Auntie Lou, Vamp Faye, Fallon Lowry, Sabrina Franklin, and Julia Nieberdowski. And to the rest of my wonderful patrons and my members, thank you so much for being here and for being you. Even if you're not a financial supporter of mine, thank you for making it to the end of this video and leaving your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, all those things. Thank you so very much. Keep making waves, babes, and I will smell you all later. Mommy Tsunami, out.